dressed as a penguin at a recent fancy dress do. They hit it off, and later when I left the party in the small hours, I caught them in an alleyway. Shall we say canoodling?
Canoodling.
Both still in their costumes. I've never seen a more surreal sight in my life. Talksport.net, text 81089 08717 223344. But it's time now for Todd Macklin's American Sports Round. Yes, good afternoon, Todd.
Hey guys, can I quickly tell you my fancy dress story?
Yes, you can, yeah.
Living in the UK years ago, I was invited to a fancy dress party in Bristol, and when I first heard, I just thought I would have to get a tuxedo. So of course, I show up to this fancy dress party in my best suit. Because I just thought it meant fancy dress meant that you got dressed up in your best.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a term. Doesn't it not mean anything in sort of Canada or the States? Then no.
No, just fancy is good. Is a good thing.
You call them like costume parties.
You get dressed up a little bit.
Yeah. So you call them a costume party.
We call them a costume party. Correct.
Okay. And what about? Have you got any fine outfits you've worn for costume parties, Todd, over the years?
No, I mean, early on I used to dress up as Batman a lot. That was my kind of thing. And then it was sports people after that. I try to get my daughter to dress up as my favorite basketball player.
Really?
But she'll have none of that. She wants to be a princess.
Yeah, but don't blame her. Yeah,
no, I don't blame her. Now, it's the thing about American sport is that often it's the regular season, then it's the playoffs. In fact, all of the sports. And the playoff time is just completely different. And it's baseball playoff time. The intensity is just much, much higher, isn't it, Todd?
Oh, it certainly is. And everything is magnified. And you get so up after every win, so down after every loss. And specifically baseball, guys, because it's 162 games. I mean, it's so much longer than any of the other sports. It's such a grind. Everyone always talks about keeping an even keel. But that never happens when the playoffs roll around, especially the first round, guys. It's a best of 5. So the first team to win 3 games is through. And already you've got the LA Dodgers up 2-0 against the Cardinals. You got the Phillies, last year's champs, and the Rockies tied at a game apiece.
That was a brilliant game. I watched the end of that last night. It was a brilliant game.
That was a terrific. And the best game was probably the Dodgers game last night. The Cardinals were all set to win that game. They were 1 out away from winning it and tying it at a game apiece. And their left fielder, Matt Holliday, dropped the fly ball. That allowed the inning to continue. The Dodgers came back, won it with 2 runs. So, and again, Matt Holliday now is all of a sudden one of the biggest GOATs in playoff history because of this big blunder. The Yankees guys are up 1-0. They cruised by the Twins a couple nights ago, and the Red Sox got shut out by the Angels last night. The Red Sox have knocked the Angels out of the playoffs 3 times in the last 5 years. And a lot of people think this is the year that the Angels kind of get it back on the Red Sox, and they certainly did in Game 1.
Now, one of the stories in the States is the Oakland Raiders head coach Tom Cable. He's in a bit of trouble, isn't he, Todd?
Yeah, he certainly is. And the Oakland Raiders guys are as dysfunctional as you can get. I mean, here's one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. They're one of the most famous franchises. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl, just 7 seasons ago. You remember they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, since then, the Raiders have just absolutely gone and are in disarray. I mean, on the field, they're losing basically every game, almost every game they play. Their owner, Al Davis, has taken a brunt of the criticism. People just say that he's so out of touch with the game. And the latest incident happened a few months ago, but Tom Cable, who's their head coach, allegedly assaulted one of his assistant coaches, broke his jaw. They were having a meeting. Tom Cable just exploded at the guy, allegedly broke his jaw, and now he may face criminal charges. Now, people are saying that he could go to jail. Odds are he's not going to if he ends up pleading guilty. And it's interesting to note when he first was asked about it, he denied it completely. But odds are if he ends up pleading guilty to a lesser charge, he'll get a fine, probably won't go to jail. But it will be interesting to see what the commissioner, Roger Goodell, does, guys, because we've talked a lot over the years about, with players. He's really ruled with an iron fist, suspending players for complete